Buck is a 3-year-old quarter-horse stallion. Shortly after I brought Buck home, I had to humanely euthanize my thoroughbred that is standing behind him to the left. Buck's training went on the back burner for a little while. Buck had been started for 30 days by some rednecks that used big ported shanked bits and giant star spurs. He would spook at leg aids for fear of pain. We took him to the vet to make sure he wasn't acting out because of pain, and while we were there, we decided to go ahead and geld him. While Buck was recovering from his brain surgery, sadly my Minnie was bitten on the nose by a venomous snake. Despite our best efforts to save him, he did not make it. Buck's training was further waylaid, as I was having a difficult time losing 2 horses I had for over a decade back to back. During this time, Buck thought it would be exciting to stick his leg through the fence. He only got a minor wound around his knee, but it got cellulitis and took several weeks to heal properly. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, he also got a hoof abscess during this time. Once I was finally able to start working with him again, I realized just how traumatic his starting experience had been. We decided to start over from scratch. He was extremely spooky at leg aids, in particular to the left. Here you can see anytime I would just barely touch him with my leg, he would dart to the side. With a lot of patience and groundwork, Buck realized moving away from pressure was not a scary thing, and he started to trust me. We made a lot of progress on the ground. But he was still scared of things suddenly touching his flanks, so we did a lot of desensitizing with the stirrups on the ground. At first he was doing really well back in the saddle, but sometimes he would spook without warning to the lightest touch. I fell and hurt my hip and was not able to ride for close to a month. We took this time to sharpen his footwork on the ground. He isn't the most careful with where his feet are, but this time out of the saddle in the end did us a lot of good. Once I was able to start riding again, he would revert back to spooking at leg aids. Some days it felt like I was taking 1 step forward and 10 steps back. I just stayed really patient, never punished him, and eventually, things got better. Buck was not super brave about jumping, and let's face it, he doesn't have the most natural scope in the world, so I decided we needed to get help. In fall 2018, I started to take lessons with a local eventing trainer. Buck continued to have some squirrely moments, but nothing too terrible. This was Buck's first jump with a rider. Isn't he just so cute? He wasn't too sure about this jumping business, but after a while he seemed to enjoy it. He would still have his off days and often spook out of nowhere, which would catch me off balance. My trainer at the time didn't know what to do about it. He started getting more comfortable off property, and we took him to a few schooling dressage shows. This was his first combined training schooling show, and he was super even though I looked awful. He was so relaxed that I could walk him around cross country, bareback and bitless. At a later outing, we took him cross country schooling for the first time. We had one little hiccup, but overall was a really positive first outing. We took him to his first Amoeba Level 3 phase schooling show at Chat Hills. He handled the show atmosphere really well. We were lined up for third after dressage. I was amazed at how well he did in a fairly busy warm-up. He also used to spook at other horses riding close to him, and he acted like this didn't bother him at all, which was my biggest fear for that weekend. Unfortunately, he was overfaced in the big scary Chat Hills arena, and I lacked the courage to get him forward off my leg. I was still afraid of him spooking further at my leg aid, even though he needed a confident forward rider at the time. We decided to retire after the first jump. We went home and schooled some more jumps, and he still seemed to enjoy it. I took him to a hunter schooling show to see how our homework paid off. Obviously, it didn't. My equitation is awful. I'm just sitting there like a log, and I didn't have the guts to be the leader he needed me to be to get him past this scary situation. I decided it was time to get a new trainer. Although this footage was filmed in the winter, I started riding with my current trainer in the summer of 2019. It was difficult leaving a trainer that I personally liked, but it was the best decision I ever made. We went back to basics and fine-tuned our flat work. Teaching Buck how to properly use his hind end and create impulsion has done a world of good in all aspects of our riding. Our jumping really started to improve by leaps and bounds. Haha, I made a pun. By the fall, we were ready to try another schooling 3 phase. This time we schooled the show jump arena the day before, and Buck was great. However, with a false sense of security, I quit riding and had a tumble at the first cross-country jump while schooling. I got back on and we schooled the rest of the course. The next day, we actually finished second. It was only amoeba level, but cantering through those finish flags for the first time on Buck, I felt like I was on cloud 9. Before the pandemic affected the United States, we were able to go to a dressage schooling show. We still have a ways to go, and I need to ride like I do at home to get some better scores, but I can't believe the improvement we have made in about a year and a half. We were able to school the cross-country course while we were there. Buck had his moments. But we cantered cross-country jumps for the very first time and jumped a few bigger jumps as well. It was just the confidence boost we both needed. I sometimes try to chicken out, but I'm very grateful for my cheering squad.
Oh, come on, Juliana! You got it! Right in the center! Right in the center!
the sunset, but every day I see it rise.
I am still schooling Buck at home, and he continues to get stronger with every ride. His work ethic has really improved, and he is starting to really try for his rider and take care of them, even when the equitation is subpar on my part. He has the biggest personality of any horse I have ever met, and he often gets himself into trouble, but I usually just giggle at him. I wouldn't want any other goofball by my side. I can't wait to see where the next 2 years takes us, and I hope you join along in our journey into eventing.